Catastrophe, the Careless Kitten by Ted E Dee. Art by Penguin Attack Studios. Narration by Lish, Evans-Polancih. Once upon a time, but not that long ago, an event took place about an hour or so. Mrs. Verbana Timsdale, the Timsdale cat, had a few kittens on her mat. She birthed 9 kittens, but we won't go through them all. This story is about Katastrofy, who was destructive and small. One day, Katastrofy's siblings were playing with a ball of string. Katastrofy thought, "Oh, what a fun thing!" Katastrofy asked, "Could I play?" Her brothers and sisters thought about what to say. The other kitties talked and talked until they agreed. "Sure you can play," they all decreed. Katastrofy smiled a great smile. Katastrofy batted the yarn across the tile. Katastrofy smacked and whacked, bopped and whopped, clawed and pawed, and played really hard with that ball of string. Swat! Katastrofy's brothers and sisters looked concerned. One of them said, "You're being too hard on your turn." Katastrofy's brothers and sisters were sad as they looked at what was left of the ball of the string they just had. Katastrofy's brothers and sisters watched her bound away. They were so upset they didn't know what to say. The Timsdales could no longer afford to feed so many kitties. They had to be given away. What a pity. Mr. Timsdale, with a heavy heart, put up a sign and had to depart. One by one the kitties were taken, to new homes they were making. The sun went down and night came behind it. Alone in the box did Katastrofy sit. Then came a stroke of luck for our little kitty, an old lonely lady with jewels that are quite pretty. Katastrofy looked up to find a surprise. Katastrofy found, looking at her, a pair of old eyes. The old lady lifted Katastrofy into the air. Katastrofy got kisses here and there. The woman's home was a large one, plenty of space for Katastrofy's fun. A few days passed, and Katastrofy made herself at home. Through every room, nook and cranny, she would roam. One day, something caught Katastrofy's eye, something she had to give a try. Katastrofy found a shiny ball. She wanted to bat it around the hall. Katastrofy smacked and whacked, bopped and whopped, clawed and pawed, and played really hard with the diamond. Swat! The old lady happened to be walking by when she saw a sight that would make her cry. Her prized diamond from her husband of late bounced across the room to the bathroom into a grate. Before Katastrofy wondered where she was going, the butler's pace was slowing. He stopped by a familiar box and dropped Katastrofy like a pair of dirty socks. Katastrofy looked up, confused and sad. She could not think of what she did bad. Little Maria could not believe her eyes. She saw a box that looked like it had a surprise. Maria wanted the kitty so bad. It was nothing like any toy she'd had. Katastrofy was also filled with glee to go home, to home number 3. Maria, Katastrofy, and Sarah Kay were always together when they would play. One day, Maria was at school. Katastrofy was home looking for something cool. Sarah Kay sitting in the windowsill in the sun. Katastrofy smacked and whacked, bopped and whopped, clawed and pawed, and played really hard with Sarah Kay. Swat! Maria came home, not knowing what waited. She had no idea that sadness was fated. Maria was horrified at the sight. What she saw just wasn't right. Maria was sad and surprised. Her poor doll was brutalized. Maria was saddened by the sight. Her tears she could no longer fight. Catastrophe felt bad for what she did. She did not mean to hurt her kid. Catastrophe suddenly had an idea, a solution she did see. Catastrophe remembered watching Maria's mother sew. With that in mind, she knew just where to go. Catastrophe worked hard to fix Sarah Kay. She hoped that this would make everything okay. Maria was sleeping in her bed. Maria woke up with a feeling of dread. Catastrophe presented the newly fixed Sarah Kay. She hoped that they could once again play. Maria was so pleased, she grabbed her cat and doll and squeezed. She was so filled with love and joy that her furry friend repaired her toy. Life with Maria was oh so pretty. Catastrophe was now known as the caring kitty. She knew that as she grew from kitty to cat, she would always have a home with Maria. That was that.